Okay, guys, I hope that now the voice is clear to everyone. Okay, I hope that the voice is clear to everyone. So, once again, a very good morning to all of you, and let's start with the today's newspaper analysis discussion. Also, I would like to tell you that explainer notes of this particular session are available in Telegram channel, and link for Telegram is given in description box in YouTube. Now, first of all, let's take overview of the newspaper that we have here. So here we have Delhi edition of the Hindu newspaper. First page articles that we have: workers in Uttarkashi tunnel close to freedom. Okay, which is a good news. There are 40 workers who have been trapped in this particular tunnel as its roof got collapsed. Two army captain soldiers killed in Rajouri operation. So this is really a tragic thing that has happened. Okay, then guys, moving on after that, killings of innocents unacceptable. Okay, says Prime Minister. After 2 months, India resumes e-visa services. So we have seen that a couple of weeks back, we have seen this particular thing that 2 months back, India suspended visa services for Canada. It is because of unsubstantiated allegations that were made by Canadian Prime Minister that India has played a role in killing of a Khalistani leader. So because of that, relations got declined and visa services were suspended. However, now they are getting normalized, which shows that a normalcy might come in India-Canada relations. Okay, then moving on, guys. However, one thing that you are not really required to track too much this particular development in detail. Okay, moving on in this particular direction, guys, then we have city section and city section regional issues. These tenders, advertisements and all such kind of things have been there. So nothing much relevant has been given in this particular section apart from regional political news, etc. So we will directly be moving on to editorial section, and in editorial section we have important articles here. Listen to the people, not the numbers. Now this article is important one with respect to the state of Indian economy. We'll take this particular article. Then guys, on the side we have this article: the time has come for the governor's role to be reconsidered. So guys, I think in past 10 or 12 days we have discussed this particular article at least 4 or 5 times. Now this article is on the same thing, that is governor which is not passing the bill. Many state governments have reached to Supreme Court that governor should not keep the bill pending or should not withhold the assent to the bill. Okay, because constitution does not provide such power to the governor, and in this direction Supreme Court also has said that governors should not do that particular thing. Then moving on, reporting criminal animal cruelty makes children safer. We'll take this particular article with respect to the examination. Okay, glimpse of hope: a pause in the pause in war after the hostage release deals give peace a chance. So guys, recently we have seen this particular thing that a tentative deal has been reached between Hamas and Israel, that a pause in war will be brought, and in return Hamas will send back the hostages of Israel that they have kept. Now it shows that a truce might come in this particular capacity. Okay, now guys, one particular quotation you can note down, because many of these articles on the war and crisis are coming, and right now there are two wars that is going on. On one hand, Russia-Ukraine war is there, on another hand this Hamas-Israel war is going on. So you can write down one particular quotation from Gandhiji, and you can use this particular quotation particularly in ethics when the war related question or some essay is coming. Please take down this quotation. Please take down that. What difference it makes? What difference it makes to dead and poor? What difference it makes to dead and poor, as whether as whether the war was fought in the name of, as whether the war was fought in the name of totalitarianism, as whether the war was fought in the name of totalitarianism, or in the holy name of democracy, or in the holy name of democracy. Okay, fine. So what Gandhiji says here, Gandhiji says there that the person who has died, or the person who is poor, who has lost everything, how it matters to this person that whether you are fighting for against totalitarianism or you are fighting to bring democracy. This person's life has been shattered. So war in any capacity cannot be justified as per this viewpoint which has been given by Gandhiji. And one more value addition point I am giving you, that Gandhiji is a pacifist philosopher when war is concerned. Pacifist philosopher. Okay, what is a pacifist philosopher? Anyone who will never justify the war. Okay, so you can take down this particular thing. Now, okay, if the spelling of pacifist, if you have a problem, you can write. Okay. Okay. Now, moving on. Okay, moving on in this particular direction, same-sex couples, a judge to the rescue. So guys, what has happened? Recently, one of a judge of Madras High Court, Justice Anand Venkatesh, has provided this particular thing, that in the deed of familial associations, same-sex marriages should be recognized. Okay. Now, basically guys, if you remember, few days back, we have seen this particular development that Supreme Court has passed their ruling with respect to whether same-sex couple can be allowed to marry or not. So we have Special Marriage Act. Under Special Marriage Act, same-sex people wanted that they should be allowed to get married. Okay, they approached the courts. Supreme Court has given that no, we cannot allow same-sex couple to get married under the Special Marriage Act. Now, Madras High Court judge had said that in the family deed they should be recognized. Okay, so this article is just around this entire statement that has been given, and it is said that it is a kind of a hope that Supreme Court should reconsider their statement. Okay, however, guys, beyond that much important substance has not been given in this particular article. In this particular article. Okay, moving on. One thing, I guess I made a spelling mistake here. Okay, so pacifist. So Gandhiji is a pacifist philosopher. He will never justify the war. So that is okay. Moving on. Moving on. Text and context section. So here we have this article, Haryana's employment reservation law. Now guys, this article we discussed yesterday also, but anyhow, for a revision purpose, we'll see this particular article again. What is ruling against the UK's Rwanda deal? Again, very important article for ethics GS paper number 4. So we'll take this particular article also for examination. Then moving on guys to next page, ethics and epistemology of ancient Indian materialist. Okay. Now guys, understand this thing. When you read heading of this particular article, ethics and epistemology of ancient Indian materialist, you might think that this is a very, very important topic for ethics GS paper number 4. Okay. But guys, what actually is happening in this particular article? By the way, yesterday we have discussed that what materialism is and what are the schools in India which have advocated materialism. Materialism of Greeks, Democritus's reference also we have taken yesterday. Now this is talking about the ethics and epistemology in ancient India materialist. First of all, what is epistemology? Okay, epistemology is a theory of knowledge. How we acquire knowledge, what are the sources of knowledge, okay, what is the right knowledge? That is the branch which that is the epistemology, and epistemology is a specific branch of philosophy. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that this particular article, what it is going on, it is going into the core theories, it is going on into the core theories of philosophy. It is going on in the core theories of philosophy. For example, the Sankhyaist viewpoint. Okay, fine. What was the Kannada's Vishashik school's viewpoint, okay, with respect to the epistemology. I have read this entire article. The article is on core philosophy. So if you have a philosophy optional, you can read this thing. But for GS point of view, article does not contains specific substance for our general studies paper. So for GS, I will not advise you to go in this particular article, okay, because the concepts are the core concepts of philosophy, fine, which are not that much needed. Then moving on guys, KCR says, okay, by the way, one more thing is there guys, when we talk about the ethics, okay, applied ethics and the contemporary dimensions of ethics, is something that is the most important. When we talk about the dimensions of ethics, there are the 4 dimensions of ethics. There is meta ethics, there is applied ethics, okay, there is meta ethics, there is applied ethics, there is normative ethics, and there is descriptive ethics. Okay, now when we talk about ethics paper, GS paper number 4, normative ethics and applied ethics. Normative and applied ethics. These are the 2 branches that are the most important for our paper, and our entire syllabus surrounds around applied ethics and normative ethics. Okay, and some of administrative ethics and psychology topics are also there. Now, this article that is there, it is on meta ethics, which is the philosophical investigation of ethics. Okay, which actually does not concern that much our examination. Okay, I hope that you have understood this particular thing. Okay, moving on in this direction. Okay, harshness of amendments made to PMLA in 2019 shocking, says Sibbal. So PMLA stands for Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that recently in Money Laundering Act, actually in 2019 certain amendments were made, and it has been said that Money Laundering Act has been made more draconian. For example, one of the provision is there in the Money Laundering Act that the report, okay, the case that has been filed against a person, okay, the first information report copy, okay, ECIR copy will not be given to the person. Okay, it will not be given to the person. So person does not know how to defend himself or herself. So it has been said that these amendments are draconian and these amendments should be changed. So for that, a review petition has been filed in Supreme Court, and that argument is going on. Okay, so harshness of amendments made to PMLA in 2019 shocking, says Sibbal. Now see this particular thing, that for coming few weeks or months probably, this particular case will go in Supreme Court, and there probably are going to be 10-15 articles that will come in this particular line, that today judge said this, Kapil Sibal said this, that. You are not really required to track every, such kind of an article. Why? Because guys, final judgment will be important one. Okay, final judgment is the important one. Okay, then guys, further moving on, assembly poll page we have here. Then further, Central Trade Union call for probe into tunnel collapse that happened in Uttarkashi. Okay, then further here we have one article. Supreme Court begins hearing on pleas against parties offering freebies. We'll take this particular article for examination. Commission clarifies norms for foreign medical graduates. Okay, then in world page, Israel Hamas war. So recently this controversy started that OpenAI, which is behind ChatGPT, they fired their CEO Sam Altman. After that, in corporate world, a lot of trembling was going on, and now he has returned back to OpenAI. So that development is being reported. Again, for examination, not that much important. Here we have an article, Das flags model-based lending. We'll take this particular article. Also, guys, here we have one more article. India seeks private money for coal-fired power plant despite Western opposition. We'll take this particular article also for the examination. Then we have some of the corporate trends, and then these tenders, etc. Not very much important. Then we have sports section. And guys, in the sports section, there is also the science page that comes. Now, many of you who are having physical copies, science page or text and context might not be coming in your paper. Don't worry, we cover here. So you can be assured of that particular thing. Now, today science page that we have, what article is contained in today's science page? Lower oxygen at high altitude increases lifespan in aging mice. So basically guys, this particular study has been conducted on the aging mice, and it has been published in PLOS Biology in May 2023. And this particular study has given their finding that oxygen restriction can extend the lifespan in the aging mammal. So basically, how the experiment was done, what are the findings, how that findings got reviewed, and all such kind of a thing has been given. Now, okay, so are you really required to go in this particular article? Understand this particular thing, that when you read the syllabus for our UPSC examination, science and technology and their application in day-to-day life is largely the area where the questions are asked, or that is actually the syllabus that has been given by UPSC. You are not really required to go in the research papers in biology, in computer sciences, in mathematics, etc. So often in science pages, this particular science section, those kind of an article comes where they are reviewing some research paper or some research finding. Those core research articles not needed for examination because questions are not framed. Okay, now guys, two things I will emphasize here. Number one is that before even starting your preparation, you need to thoroughly have an understanding of syllabus. Also, I will advise you that you please go and see at least last 15-20 years of previous papers. For mains, I will suggest that 2013 onwards you can do, but for prelims, at least past 20 years papers you should see, so that you actually can get an idea that what type of things are actually asked in the paper. Because doesn't matter what any bhaiya is saying on YouTube that next year this will import that question from here will come, question from there will come. No, gold standard is UPSC papers that they have given in the past, and that will give you an objective idea that what is to be read and what is not to be read. And on that particular basis, we make an understanding that whether this article is important or not. So don't trust anybody, do this particular thing as an exercise for yourself. Okay, moving on guys, in this particular direction. Okay, so this is about the paper, and now let's take all these articles one by one in detail. And as I was telling you in the start, this is synoptic notes that you can download from Telegram channel, okay, and can use it. Now, moving on. So every class we take a GS quotation, and this particular quotation gives you certain ideas that you can use in your GS papers to complement them. Also, you can use them in your essay. So this is one of my favorite quotation, okay, and the idea is from Bhagavad Gita. Detachment is not that you own nothing. Detachment is that nothing owns you. That nothing owns you. Okay, detachment is not that I will give away every material possession that I have and I say that, okay, I don't have any property, I don't have asset in my name, I'm detached. No. Detachment is that nothing owns you. No external agency has a control on you. Okay, you should be internally free. You should not be bound by temptations. You should not be bound by material physical attachment. You should not be bound by rag, that is attachment, dvesh, that is hatredness, moh, that is delusion. So detachment is that nothing owns you, nothing has a control over you. Okay, you should be unfettered. That is true detachment. You can use this particular idea very suitably in values part, GS paper number 4 ethics, GS paper number 4 ethics, as well as an essay. You can use this quotation. Now, moving on, and let's take first article for today that we have. What is the ruling against UK's Rwanda deal? This article will see with respect to GS paper number 4 applied ethics. GS paper number 4 applied ethics. Okay, ethics of refugee crisis. Now, first of all, before going on in this particular article, I would like to give you some background information, because only if you have this background information, you will be able to make a sense that what is Rwanda's UK's deal, what has happened in that deal, and what are implications of that. You will be able to understand that. Now guys, let's understand this particular thing. Okay, just a minute. Okay, so guys, here if you okay, so here we'll see English channel. Okay, we'll see English channel. Okay, now, okay, so guys, here you can, if you focus here, fine. Okay, here we have English channel. Okay, and basically guys, it has been reported by UK that large number of people, large number of asylum seekers, large number of immigrants are reaching England, through English channel. Now understand this particular thing guys, that post 2015, we have seen that geopolitical crisis in West Asia as well as geopolitical crisis in Northern Africa has increased immensely. And because of that particular thing, what is happening? Large number of people through illegal boats, through illegal transit channels, they are reaching to European countries. And through English channel, large number of boats are reaching to England and people are there. Now these people want an asylum, these people want a refuge in England. Okay, now guys, England has got fed up with large number of illegal immigrants that are entering to England, and for that particular thing, what they have done, they have signed a deal with Rwanda. They have signed a deal with Rwanda. Now what is the deal that they have signed with the Rwanda? First of all, you need to know the name of this particular deal. Okay, so basically what has happened, they have signed this particular agreement. The agreement is Migration and Economic Development Partnership Agreement of 2022. Now, what is this Migration and Economic Development Partnership Agreement of 2022? As per this particular agreement, all the asylum seekers who have come to England, whose request England is not accepting, or whom England is not giving the entry, England will send these people to Rwanda. England will send these people to Rwanda. England will bear all the cost of their transit, and some money will also be given to Rwanda. Now, when these people will reach Rwanda, Rwanda will have certain options. Rwanda will have certain options. Now, what are the options that Rwanda will have in this particular case? Number one, if Rwanda wants, Rwanda can return these people to their country of origin, to country of their origin. Let's say people from Syria reached to England. Then those people, if England does not want to give them asylum in their own country, England will send them back to Rwanda. And Rwanda can send these people back to country of their origin, that is, they can send back again to Syria if they have come from there. Then also if Rwanda wants, Rwanda can help them in moving them to some third other country. For example, if Rwanda wants, they can be moved to Cameroon. If Rwanda wants, they can be moved to Mauritania. They can be moved to Burundi. Wherever third country Rwanda wants, Rwanda can send them there. Third option, Rwanda can settle these particular asylum seekers in Rwanda only and can give them housing, can give them health insurance, can give them right to work. So these are the three options that Rwanda has as per this particular agreement, and in return, UK will give money to Rwanda for this particular thing. Now, first of all, guys, this particular deal has opened up many ethical questions. It has opened up many ethical questions. First of all, guys, let's see this particular thing. I just want to share one episode which is actually a very disastrous episode with you. And if you are writing any answer on refugee ethics or any answer in ethics where the ethics of refugee crisis are concerned, you can give this particular reference also. This is actually a very tragic incident I want to share with you here. Okay. So guys, here there is this Alan Kurdi episode. There is this Alan Kurdi tragedy that happened. Alan Kurdi tragedy that happened. Okay. So basically, guys, if you see, this is a heart-wrenching photograph. So basically, guys, what actually happened? So Alan Kurdi is this young boy who died while their family was trying to cross the Mediterranean Sea. And this is a Syrian boy whose body then came on the shore. This particular photograph was clicked. This particular photograph was clicked. And when this particular photograph was spread on social media, entire world really started introspecting that what we are doing with the refugees. Okay, so Alan Kurdi, when we talk about Alan Kurdi, he was this 2-year-old Syrian boy. Okay, and in 2015, he unfortunately, he died. They were going on a boat. They were going to for the refuge, and they died in this particular thing. Okay, now guys, what has happened since 2015? The ethics of refugee crisis have come to a limelight. It is being seen that people who are running from one country to other country, they are not going here for they are not going there for some luxury. Nobody wants to leave their home. But condition of living is so bad in their home country, or if they will continue living in their home country, they will die, they will face persecution. So just for a dignified right, they are trying to go to some another country. But what is happening? Recipient countries are treating them just as a commodities, that we don't want them, you take them. We don't want them, you take them. So they are treating them as the broken goods. They are treating them as a commodity, which goes against the principle of human dignity. Now, Immanuel Kant, German philosopher, Immanuel Kant, the German philosopher, had said this particular thing, that humans should be treated as an end in themselves. Humans should be treated as an end in themselves. Nothing is more important than human. Nothing is more important than human. Okay, but what is happening as we see this particular deal that has been signed between Rwanda and as we see this particular deal that has been signed between Rwanda and UK, UK is treating humans just as a commodity. They are transporting them to Rwanda, and whatever Rwanda wants, Rwanda will do this particular thing. Okay, so this particular thing happened, and when we see, guys, this particular rule, this particular step that has been taken by Britain, it is in line with the Britain's colonial history. So what Britain used to do during colonial times also, it used to send the migrant laborers to other countries. For example, we see this particular thing that the Tamilians, they were exported to, or they were brought to Sri Lanka for working into the plantations. In the same way, we see that a large number of people from Africa, they were taken from Africa to America to work there onto the plantations. So they have treated humans as commodities, and the similar thing has been done now by this particular deal. But what has happened, Supreme Court of UK has struck down this particular agreement. They say that you cannot go forward this particular agreement. Now, what is the basis that they have struck this particular agreement? And this concept is very important for your ethics. So this now in article, they have provided a too much complicated language, but so in order to ensure that you understand, we have written in a very simple words. So basically, on the principle of refoulement, this particular policy or this particular agreement has been ruled out. Now, what is the principle of refoulement? So guys, the principle of refoulement in the most simple words means like this, that you cannot send back a migrant to their origin country if they face a risk of persecution in their home country. Okay, for example, if a person is from X country, and let's say a person belongs to a particular religion or a particular social background, and the people of that social background, let's say, are being killed in that country. The person has escaped and come to other country. You cannot send this person back again, because there this person will have risk to his or her life. So what the refoulement is? Okay, so we will read this particular thing here. The forcible return of refugees or asylum seekers to a country where they are liable to be subjected to persecution, including their home country. Now guys, if you go back and you observe one particular point here, I told you Rwanda will have three options. And what is the option number one? Rwanda can return these people to the country of their origin. But there is a possibility that if they send back them to the country of their origin, there these people might get persecuted, they might be killed there. So therefore, what is happening here, the principle of refoulement will be violated. So UK's Supreme Court has struck down this particular law. Is it clear or not? And guys, here we see that some sense of ethicality, some sense of morality has finally prevailed. Okay, you can use this particular case study in your ethics paper number 4, applied ethics. Fine, please use it. Okay, now moving to the next article. Also, what UNHCR, United Nations. Now, what is UNHCR? UNHCR stands for United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. Okay, and guys, when we talk about the refugees, there is 1951 United Nations Convention on Rights of Refugees. And it's one additional protocol also signed in 1967. Fine, protocol of United Nations Convention on Rights of Refugees. Okay, this is the international framework. Which guides the matters related to the refugee. One additional bonus point I just want to tell you, please keep it in your mind for your examination. India has not signed, or India has not ratified the 1951 United Nations Convention on Refugees. India has not signed it, not ratified it. Also, India does not have an asylum policy. So these are some additional points that you should please note it down in your notebook. Now, UNHCR clearly says this particular thing, that once a refugee enters a territory, for example, if a refugee has entered the England, okay, via land or sea, it becomes the responsibility of respective country to ensure the safety of that particular refugee. UK cannot shift this particular responsibility to third countries such as Rwanda. It is UK's responsibility in this particular matter. It is UK's responsibility. So therefore, this was this particular lapse that has happened. Okay. Also guys, what will happen? It might also establish a bad precedence. It might also establish a bad precedence or immoral precedence. It will start an immoral precedence. What can happen? Other countries such as Germany, France, Italy, they will also come out with these kind of an agreements, and with poor countries of Africa, they will sign these particular agreements, and what will happen? It will degrade the human dignity. Okay, so these are all the issues in this particular direction, guys. I hope that you have understood it. And now moving to next article. And guys, whatever your questions are there, you can post it in the comment box. I will in the chat, you can post your questions. At the end of the session, I will take this. Okay, we come to next article. Supreme Court begins hearing on plea against parties offering freebies during election. Freebies during election. This particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 2 electoral reforms. GS paper number 2 electoral reforms. Okay. Now, first of all, guys, let's take some basic background information. What is the meaning of this particular word freebie? Actually, this is the most controversial thing. This is most controversial thing. First of all, freebie is any irrational entitlement that is being promised to the people just for populistic purpose, or just for populistic gain. What is populistic gain or what is populistic purpose? Any step which will attract more and more voters, anything which will be liked by people and people will vote you, that is populistic. For example, if it is given that, okay, guys, understand this thing. For example, farm loan waivers are there. If farm loan waivers are given, all the loans that you have taken, you need not to pay back. What will happen? Immediately people, or particularly the farmer community, would be happy, would appreciate that, and ruling party might get more and more vote. Okay, so any measure which will appease more and more people for political advantage, for electoral gain, those policies are called as populistic gains. So what is a freebie? Freebie is any irrational promise. Freebie is any irrational entitlement that is being promised or given to the voters for the populistic advantage. Now, clearly, this particular thing is controversial. Why it is controversial? Because, guys, understand this thing, that what is a freebie, how you will define it. What is a freebie, how you will define this particular thing. Guys, there are two things. One is the entitlements social. See, there are the entitlements for social justice, and there are the entitlement or only for electoral gain. Now, what you are doing for electoral gain and what you are doing to bring genuine social justice, how you will differentiate it that? Let me give you some examples so that you can understand more better. See, free education. If you see, even free education could be called as a freebie, that you are giving free education so that you get more votes. Even free food grains, they can be said that you are giving free food so that you get more vote. You are doing it for electoral gain. But on the other hand, political party can very clearly justify that no, it is not for electoral gain. We are giving education for social justice. We are giving food for social justice. And guys, in that capacity, many things they can justify. Even farm loan waivers, they can justify that farmers are facing so much of distress and we are giving farm loan waivers so that farmer distress goes down, social justice comes. Free bicycles we are giving so that girls can go to the school. Free laptop we are giving so that children can get the IT education. Okay. Free iPad we are giving so that UPSC aspirants can make digital notes. It will bring social justice for them. So it is always debatable. So therefore, guys, freebie, whether they bring social justice or whether they are for electoral gain, this is a very big controversial issue that is going on for so many years. One thing. Now, guys, what has happened? Prime Minister of India last year has equated this freebie culture with revdi culture. Have equated these freebies with the revdi culture. Okay, revdi culture. So you can use this particular also in your papers if you want. Now guys, one particular point I would like to make, and then I'll go further in this particular article and see this particular thing, that often many times students ask this particular question, that why we should go for reading newspapers, why don't we just read why just don't we read the magazines at the last of the month. And guys, you also know this particular thing, that many number of times many toppers also recommend this particular thing, that no need to read newspaper, only you can read the magazines and that will do. I want to talk on this particular thing also. I have made a video. See guys, understand this thing, that when we just refer the magazines, we get the factual information, because a magazine 70-80 pages, it can just talk on the broad policies that came, laws that came, and factual things. But now if you are already a well-read person, you have a good thought, you have good thought processing, you have good comprehension, yes, you can go for magazines. But if you don't have your own original opinions, then editorials can help you. How? Listen guys, in today's article there is this one particular judgment that has been referred. I will tell you this judgment, and then I will equate that how reading newspaper would have given you additional content. See, now guys, there is this particular one judgment on 2013 judgment. Name of the judgment is S. Subramaniam Balaji versus Tamil Nadu case. And this particular judgment had provided that offering freebie, offering in election manifesto, offering some gift, offering some entitlement to the people is not a corrupt practice and it is not illegal. By logic means that if you are promising something as to the voter, it cannot be called as freebie and it cannot be called as illegal, it cannot be called as wrong. So S. Subramaniam Balaji judgment has ruled this particular thing. We get this information. But guys, what actually happens? What actually happened last year in 2022? Last year in 2022, in the month of October, one editorial came in the Hindu newspaper, and I have taken on this platform that editorial in October 2022. Last year it came. Now that editorial talked more on S. Subramaniam Balaji judgment. And basically guys, in this judgment, what was considered? In this judgment, it was considered that giving free TV. Now in Tamil Nadu, women have been given free TVs. Whether giving a free TV is a freebie or not, this matter was discussed. And Supreme Court said that, see, and the ruling was given on the basis of an Oxford study. Now guys, even if I ask you that giving TV as an election promise, would you call it as a freebie or not a freebie? Okay, first of all guys, let's do this thing. Please write in the comment box. Please write in the comment box that giving television sets to the people, making this promise that TV sets will be given, is it a freebie or not a freebie? According to you, it is a freebie or not a freebie? Please write it. Yes guys, do this particular thing. Please write it in the comment box that it is a freebie or not a freebie. Okay, now understand this thing. What was the ruling, or what was the Oxford study that had said? It says this particular thing, that giving TV is not a freebie. Why it is not a freebie? Because of many reasons. Understand this particular thing. Many number of times, women, they are not connected with the outside world, and therefore whatever exploitation is happening to them, they accept it. Okay, if they will have a TV, they can know what is going on in the outside world. Through the TV, they can consume news. Through the TV, they can get education about the laws that are prevailing in the world with respect to the women's rights. So TV is actually a window for the women to connect with the outside world and for them to get education through many of the programs that are coming. Number one. Number two, many number of times, children from the poor families, they are going to the neighbor's house to watch a program on TV, and when they are going there, they are not treated very nicely. They are made to sit on the floor, okay, or they are just shooed away that, okay, come later or go to your home. What happens? It impacts the psychology of the child in a tender age. They face this inhumane treatment. They face that they are not being treated in a dignified manner. But if they have TV in their own home, that insult, that embarrassment will not be faced by children. So therefore it was said that TV is not a freebie. Now guys, this is one very interesting viewpoint that was cited by the Supreme Court in a Subramaniam case. Now, what point I'm trying to make fundamentally, let's come back to that. you can never know these particular, you cannot understand these things if you are not making reading of editorials. These opinions will not be there in your mind. Now these opinions, they reflect in your answers, they will reflect in your essays, they will reflect in your interview. So my point is that if you are already a well-read person and you have all these ideas, you don't need to know, you have read so many of the books that already you know these things, then fine, you can skip the newspaper entirely. But if not, then reading editorials will equip you with these ideas. Okay. Now, so basically guys, on the freebies, the matter has now again reached to Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court is hearing this particular case, that whether the freebie will be a corrupt practice or not. Will be a corrupt practice or not. Now guys, what is a corrupt practice? So basically, section 123 of Representation of People Act 1951 talks about corrupt practices. Corrupt practices are a ground for disqualification. Now, what will come into the corrupt practices? On one hand, it is said that if any political party or if any political candidate is offering freebie, that should be counted as a corrupt practice and that candidate should be disqualified. This is one viewpoint. Other viewpoint is that no, freebie should not be called as a corrupt practice. Freebie should not be called as a corrupt practice. So on this particular matter, the case is going on in Supreme Court. On this matter, Supreme Court case is going on. Now, if we see the existing judgment, that is 2013 S. Subramaniam judgment, there they have said that a political party can promise anything in their manifesto, it is not a corrupt practice. Now, what Supreme Court will say? Now, we need to see this particular thing, so judgment will come. Now, basically, what are the arguments, what are the criticism against these freebies? It has been said that these freebies run dry state finances. They run dry state finances. It has been said that political parties, they make many wild promises which are never justified, and for those, when they are making wild promises, just to fulfill those wild promises, they are running dry the resources. These resources could have been used in some productive way, but that is not happening. Also guys, it is being said that on another hand, political parties will justify. They say that no, it is not a freebie. We are fulfilling the mandate of DPSP, Directive Principle of Social, Directive Principles of State Policy. We are fulfilling the DPSP. Okay. Moreover, guys, state governments have also given the argument of Article 282. Article 282. Now, what is Article 282? Let's understand this particular thing also. So here we have Article 282. I have provided in your notes also. So Article 282, what it reads? The union or state may make a grant for any public purpose, notwithstanding that the purpose is not one with the respect to which parliament or the legislature of the state may make laws. In very simple terms, what it means? Expenditure deferable by union or state out of its revenue. In simple words, it means that union or the state government, they are empowered to use revenue for whatever purpose they want as per their wisdom. Article 282 provides. So state governments are using, or the political parties are using this particular ground. They say that as per Article 282, wherever we want, we can use our money. So who you are to tell that you should use there or you should not use there? We can make any promise. Okay. So this is, guys, on both the sides, the argument that are there. And we need to see, this particular thing, that what Supreme Court finally will give their judgment. Okay. Now, there are certain questions that are coming, sir, laptop cycle, is it a freebie? Is it? Now, controversy is this only, that what actually is a freebie, what is not a freebie, that is not very clear. Okay, moving on. Haryana's employment reservation law. So we have discussed it yesterday also, already I have told you, but we'll revise it also. Okay, now, this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 2, polity and governance. GS paper number 2, issues related to polity. Okay, also, most importantly, it will be important for GS paper number 1, issues of regionalism. Issues of regionalism. Okay. Now, guys, first of all, what has happened? Let me give you basic background information first. Haryana government has passed. So Haryana government has passed this Haryana State Employment of Local Candidate Act 2020. This particular act came in force in 2021, and this particular act has provided that 75% of the jobs in private sector which are paying the salary up to 30,000 rupees, are to be reserved for the Haryana residents, are to be reserved for those people who are domiciled in the state of Haryana. Okay, this is something that has happened. Now guys, certain exemptions are there. Number one, you need to know that this will be applicable on the firms which have 10 or more employees. One. Number two, certain firms can take an exemption if they find that they are not getting the adequate human resource or workforce within the state. But these things are subject to government approval. Government can give them exemption or government may not give them exemption. Okay. Now, this particular law was implemented in 2021. This particular law then got challenged in Punjab and Haryana High Court. Punjab and Haryana High Court has now, just a few days back, has given its final ruling. And in this particular ruling, Punjab and Haryana High Court had said that this particular law is unconstitutional. This particular law is unconstitutional. Why this particular law is unconstitutional as per the Punjab and Haryana High Court? There are many reasons that they have given. Okay. Actually, guys, before Punjab and Haryana High Court, what was the contention by the industry? So industry says that number one, it will violate the article number 19. Now article number 19 gives the right to freedom, that is right to reside and settle in any part of the Indian territory. Now migrant worker, let's say, are coming from X state and they are coming to Haryana and they are doing job. So when you say that 75% jobs are for local people, it means you are restricting the migrant people to come to your state because they were coming for employment, and if employment is not there, what they will do here? So in a way, that right to reside and settle is getting impacted. Also, right to trade and profession is also given in article 19, that is also getting impacted. Okay. Also, article 15, it prohibits discrimination on various grounds, and one of the ground is place of birth. One of the ground is place of birth. So article 15 is getting violated, article 14 is getting violated, article 19 is getting violated. Even there are many other arguments also. For example, it will impact the ease of doing business. It will impact the ease of doing business. Now see this thing, you know that Gurugram is an IT hub in Haryana. Gurugram in Haryana is an IT hub. Many of MNCs, they have come to Gurugram, Manesar belt, NH8 belt, entire NH8 belt on which Haryana's towns and Rajasthan towns both will come. They are the industrial towns. Okay. And when these corporates, MNCs have come, they expect the accessibility of human resource. But when you put an obligation that 75% of the workforce have to be Haryana, it restricts their options. Okay. So therefore, on multiple grounds, it was challenged. Okay. Now guys, this point is very important. This point is very important. State government have justified this particular law. Now, how state government has justified this particular law, that also needs to be understood. Okay. So state government says this particular thing, that we are entitled to make this law under the provision of Article 16 subclause 4 of Indian Constitution. Article 16 subclause 4 of Indian Constitution. Now, what does Article 16 subclause 4 says? Article 16 subclause 4 empowers the government that they can make any provision for the reservation of appointment or post in favor of any backward class of citizens which, in the opinion of the state, is not adequately represented in the services under the state. So they say that Haryana people are not adequately represented. So for their better representation, we are making law, and Article 16 subclause 4 gives us this power. They are justifying it. But Punjab and Haryana High Court had said that no, this justification is not valid. Why? Many grounds are there. And the most important ground that comes is Article 35. Now, already you might have read Article 35 in your Lakshmikant or your polity book. Article 35 provides that for the application, see, when we talk about fundamental rights, most of the fundamental rights are self-applicable. But for application of fundamental right, if some special law has to be made, then that particular law can be made by Parliament. Only Parliament can make law on any subject which will help in fulfillment of fundamental right. So how state is making the law? So they say that even if the law has to be made, the law can be made only by parliament and not by the state legislature. So Haryana government was not competent. Haryana government was not empowered to pass this particular law. This is the first ground. Second ground that they have given is Article 19 subclause 1 subclause G, that a right to carry occupation, trade or business. So the corporates, MNCs or the businesses right to trade is getting impacted. Why? If you will not give them access of free human resource, their trade cannot be done. Also, it is being said that it is similar to putting up the artificial walls throughout the country. Now see, once Haryana will do this, other state government will also follow this. For example, already Maharashtra, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, they have also enacted the laws for reserving for the reserving of jobs for their local people. So what will happen if all the states will pass these laws? What will happen? Artificial walls throughout the country will be erected and it will go against the oneness of India, fraternity of India. All these particular problems are coming in this particular direction. So therefore, also it will lead to Inspector Raj. Now, how it will lead to Inspector Raj? So basically, and in this particular law, one of the provision is that from time to time, state government has to present compliance report to the government. Companies or the businesses, they have to publish compliance report to the government that yes, our 75% workforce is of Haryana people. It is similar to Inspector Raj, where you are putting so much of conditionalities, compliances on the government, businesses. So this is guys all about it. Okay, and now we'll move to next article. And guys, meanwhile, if you are liking the video, there is one small request that I would like to make you guys, that please do hit the like button and please do share the video with the other fellow aspirants, because your engagements are very crucial for our program, our initiative, because you are the only brand ambassadors that we people can afford. Okay, now moving on, listen to the people, not the numbers. Now this is an editorial article. Okay, also one thing again, I'll repeat that whatever doubts are there, please keep on writing in the chat box. Once I will conclude the session, I will answer all the queries. Now this particular editorial we are going to read with respect to GS paper number 3, human development, sustainable development, inclusive development, or whatever flavors of development you want to add, you can do this particular thing. Okay, now moving on in this particular direction. Okay guys, also one more thing I would like to tell you, that please today we are coming out something very exciting today we are going to come, and we are announcing today, we'll announce the initiative on the Telegram as well as YouTube. Please stay tuned, or please do check that. Now listen to the people, not the numbers. So basically guys, the article says that when we talk about Indian economy has a particular economic problem, that is the incomes problem. Now what is incomes problem? Now see this particular thing, that when we talk about the growth of Indian economy post pandemic, Indian economy has reverted to 6% plus GDP growth rate. In this capacity, recently forecast was also given. We see that India's growth rate is 6% plus GDP, 6% plus on India's GDP growth rate is more than 6%. And Indian economy is in one of the top most performing economies in the world. But at the same time, if we see, income of the people is not growing sustainably. And because income of the people are not growing sustainably, people are not able to increase aggregate demand. And because of that particular thing, people are also not often able to afford basic necessities of life. So on face, GDP growth rate is good, but income is not growing. Large number of people are into the economically weaker section. And because incomes are not growing, people are depending more and more on the government jobs. If you see guys, what happened? Already 10% government jobs have been reserved for economically weaker section. Now you need to ask a question that why these demands are coming, that even in government sector, economically weaker section needs reservation. It is because in private sector jobs are not there. If jobs are there, they are not good paying. So income problem is the biggest problem of Indian economy. Now even US economy, if we see, US economy seems to be doing well. Their economic growth is good, their GDP growth rate is good, but even US citizens are dissatisfied with their economy. Workers want a fair deal, adequate and secure incomes. Inflation is high, real income is going down. Now guys, when we talk about Indian economy, or if we talk about the economies around the world, we find this particular thing, that first, economies are agrarian economies. There are the agrarian economies, and primary sector, including agriculture, plays a very important role in them. And what happens? These agrarian economies then transition to manufacturing economies. And often we have seen that in the Western countries, including the Japan also, which is not a Western country, the developed countries that are there today, they have witnessed industrial revolution. And industrial revolution was a period which helped in transition from agrarian to manufacturing economy. Okay. And once manufacturing sector matures, they move to service sector. Okay. Now guys, what happens? Initially, large chunk of a population will be in the agriculture sector. Okay, in the agriculture sector. This has happened in case of USA. This has happened in case of China. This has happened in the case of Japan. But what will happen? People from agriculture will move to manufacture, and then some people will move to service sector. And only that many people will stay in agriculture. Okay, for example, let me give you one example. Now guys, if we talk about India today, the case of India today, around 56% people directly or indirectly are involved in agriculture. 56% people directly or indirectly are involved in agriculture. But if we talk about agriculture's contribution to economy, it stands around 14 to 15%. Okay. So now this number might be 1% up or down depending on the source that you are referring, but on an average, 14 to 15% of GDP is contributed by agriculture. Means 56% people in India right now is in that sector which is just contributing 14 to 15% in GDP. So it means large number of people are there in agriculture sector. Now guys, this case was there in other countries also, such as USA, Japan, China. There also, at one point of a time, 50-60% people were in agriculture sector. But now that is not the case. If in their country, agriculture sector is contributing 14 to 15% in GDP, workforce also is like 8 to 10% or 12% in agriculture sector. What has happened? They have shifted the people from agriculture to manufacturing and from manufacturing to service. Now this transition is very crucial. This transition is very important for economic development of any country. Now guys, what happened in the case of India? India never witnessed industrial revolution. Deliberately, Britishers did not wanted to bring a revolution, industrial revolution in India. Why? Because if industrial revolution will come in India, Indians will not demand the cheap machine-made goods from UK that were coming to India. So industrial revolution never came. And guys, what happened? We actually took a shortcut in 1991. We actually took a kind of a shortcut in 1991. What happened in 1991? In 1991, we came out with the LPG. And post LPG reforms, we directly jumped to service sector. Now guys, what happened? There was agriculture sector. And directly from agriculture sector, we jumped to service sector. We entirely skipped the manufacturing sector. And guys, this is the reason that today India has come out with the Make in India. Make in India's goal was to increase the share of manufacturing to 20, in the India's GDP. Manufacturing share should be increased to 25% by 2025. This was the goal of Make in India. Okay. Now guys, it has been said that we tried to take a shortcut. In 1990 directly from agriculture to service. And we thought that the growth will come. But this shortcut has not worked in the case of India. This shortcut has ended in cul-de-sac, means nowhere. Okay, why? Why? You need to understand this particular thing. This is very important. Why? Because guys, in service sector, high skill sets are needed. High skill sets are needed. Now, people usually working in agriculture sector, they have a low skill set. Okay, and therefore, moving a person from agriculture to service is a difficult. Manufacturing sector happens to be a transition. From agriculture, you will move to manufacturing, because in manufacturing, very specialized skill sets are not needed, particularly into the low-end manufacturing. And then gradually, some of them will be filtered out to service sector. So in between, manufacturing happens to be a absorbent. Okay, but we did not had that. We directly tried to move people from agriculture to service, but they were not able to perform in service sector because those high skill sets were not there. So what happened? People stuck in agriculture only. People stuck in agriculture sector only. Is it clear or not? So there is today very little room in high-end service sector to absorb these large number of people. There is no scope. Okay. So what is happening today? People are struck where they are not having good jobs. They are not getting paid enough. Jobs are temporary, short based on the short contracts. The jobs don't provide social securities. Okay, such kind of jobs are there. So guys, now India has to focus on creating a social enterprise. India has to create a social enterprise rather than an economic enterprise. And when we talk about the social enterprise, we need to focus on the areas. We need to focus on the areas that prioritizes social caregiving. We need to prioritize, we need to focus on the economy from a social point of view, that how economy is to be pivoted, how economy is to be carried forward, so that it not only focuses on increasing efficiency, but how dignified jobs, high paying jobs, jobs with social security can be provided to the people. This should be the focus. Then one more dimension this article is talking about: focus on caregiving, focus on caregivers and caregiving. Now guys, when we talk about women, large number of women's contribution in economy are not counted. Okay, large number of women's contributions in economy are not counted. Many of the women who are doing caregiving work, they are rearing children, or they are doing some household work, or they are taking care of the elder people in the family. That work is not accounted in the GDP. That number is not accounted into the economy. Okay, we need to change this particular nature. We need to change this particular nature, and a paradigm shift is needed. Paradigm shift is needed. Also, it is being said that when we are talking about the economy, we need not to listen to historical statistics, but we need to listen to the people. We need to come out with economic policies from the point of view of people, what people want. That should be the moving, or that should be the motivation behind economic policies. What will help people, what people want for themselves. So this is guys all about this particular article, and a very good article. Also you will get essay related content in this particular article. So I hope that you have understood it. And now moving to next article. Okay, reporting animal cruelty makes children safer. Now, this is actually a very different kind of an article, I'll say, that has come, and a very different kind of a link that has been made in this particular article. Okay, let's take that. This article will take for GS paper number 2, social justice. GS paper number 2, social justice. Okay. Now, article is largely talking about the child abuse. So when we talk about the child abuse is rampant in India. And as per the statistics, data that we have on child abuse, okay, the Ministry of Women and Child Development, Ministry of Women and Child Development released the largest ever study on child abuse in India. And as per this particular report, they have given some really worrying numbers. For example, 2 out of every 3 children were physically abused. Means 66% of the children in India are physically abused. Half of the children reported having faced one or more forms of sexual abuse. Okay, 50% children faced sexual abuse. Every second child reported facing emotional abuse. 50% of children are facing emotional abuse. So children are vulnerable. Now guys, understand this particular thing. India has already ratified, please note down in your notebook, India has signed and ratified United Nations Convention on Rights of Children 1992. United Nations Convention on Rights of Children 1992. Also, 2022 marked the 30 years of the signing of United Nations Convention on Rights of Children. And as per that, India has to identify that no exploitation of children should happen. Okay. Now, basically it has been provided. Now guys, it has been provided that actually in 1980, a pilot study was conducted in England, and it was found that the families in which the pets are more probable to get abused, in those families children will also be abused. So they made a link. Let's understand this link again. Very simple. If a family is abusing the pet, most probably they are also abusing the child. In the families, okay, there is one saying also. Now, who said this thing? It is not a controversial, but it is actually, some people say it was by Gandhiji, some people say it is an Australian proverb. So many things are there. It is said that moral progress of a nation can be judged on the basis that how the nation treats its animals. How a nation treats its animals. On that basis, moral progress of a nation can be judged. So similar link is here. How you are treating your animals, it tells a lot about that family's psyche. So it has been found that a 23 families study was done, and it was found, according to study, out of 23 families, that the history of animal abuse, 83% had been identified by Human Social Service Agency as having the children at risk of abuse or neglect. So in 83% of the families which have abused the pet, their children are also prone to get abused by the family. Now it has been said that guys, in the society, animal abuse is easier to detect than the child abuse. Okay. So therefore, enforcement agencies need to detect the families where animals are getting abused, and most probably child might also be getting abused there. Now, in this capacity, what has happened? Enforcement agencies in many of the other countries, largely the Western European countries, they have started devoting their bandwidth to this particular link. They're identifying where pet abuse is there. But guys, when we talk about India, in the case of India, there is no study to assess the link of animal and child abuse. We have not done any particular kind of a study. So therefore, guys, it has been said that we should focus on good enforcement of anti-cruelty laws against animals. Right now, there is a poor enforcement of anti-cruelty laws. Now, enforcing anti-cruelty laws is not only humane and empathetic for animals, but also by identifying that, we can also find a link with the child abuse and we can arrest that particular pattern. So this is something that has been provided. So conclusion which is given is that reporting and prosecuting animal abuse is not just about saving animals, it is about protecting our children from violence and securing a better future, brighter future for them. Now guys, you can use this particular reference indirectly in some of your answers. Okay. Now moving on in this particular direction to the next article. Okay. Now we have this article. Now guys, need not to go too much in this particular article. Only the basic things that I'm explaining is more than sufficient. So what has happened? Reserve Bank of India Governor Mr. Shakti Kanta Das flags model-based lending, warns banks NBFCs of undue risk buildup. Now what he is actually talking about? Okay, so basically guys, today preset algorithms, assumptions are being used to identify the people who might need a loan and who might get a loan. Listen what this happened. It might have happened with you, or it might have happened with some of your friend who is in a job, or your father, or anybody who is actually earning. This might have happened with them. You get a message that you have been qualified for a loan of 5 lakh rupees. Now, some messages are fake messages. They are the scams, but I'm not talking about scams. Some messages are actually a genuine message, let's say coming from PhonePe, you are getting a message from Bank Bazaar, you are getting a message from some legitimate sources that within minutes, this much amount will be credited in your bank account. Okay, you can avail 2 lakh rupees within minutes in your bank account. Okay, now guys, understand this particular thing. Usually, the usual process of loan was this, that you will approach a bank will do your credit worthiness check, bank will carry the due diligence that whether you are worthy to get a money or not. all that thing will be done by the bank. They will also be seeking some collateral from you, and then the loan will be given. Okay, this is one process that used to be their old school method. But what is the new school method? On the basis of algorithms. For example, today somebody tracks me that I am ordering a lot of things from Amazon. I'm ordering a lot of things from Amazon. Okay, they might indirectly make this assessment that this person might have good financial background, and as this person shops a lot from Amazon, this person might take a 2 lakh rupees loan. Okay, and we should give him, and will charge 10% interest rate. But maybe this credit assessment is not wrong, not right. This credit assessment is not right. And by this particular thing, what is happening? NBFCs, banks, when they are offering loans on the basis of algorithms, they are exposing themselves to defaulters. They are exposing themselves to unworthy borrowers. Now guys, understand this particular thing. I just want to give a link, though link is not mentioned in the article, but will help you to understand this particular thing. If you know about 2009 financial crisis, why 2009 financial crisis happened? Because of the poor lending norms that were prevailing in the real estate sector in USA. What were happening? Let's say, suppose you are taking the loan against property. Property's value is 1 lakh rupees. They are giving you a loan of 4 lakh rupees. Okay. Such kind of reckless lending was going on in America in 2008-9, and this was the reason that sub-lending, basically 2009 financial crisis came. Okay. So basically, what Reserve Bank of India has warned NBFCs and fintech companies that you should, so he has red flagged model-based lending. So if you see here, so Reserve Bank of India has cautioned banks and NBFCs against being over-reliant on algorithms and model-based credit appraisal and lending, especially at a time when collaboration with fintechs is facilitating the introduction of innovative products and services. So just on the basis of algorithm, by seeing your purchase history on Amazon, okay, you are just assessing the person's credit worthiness and giving them loan. Just don't be too much reliant on that. Okay, so this is guys all about this particular thing. Beyond this, nothing much is there. So just a flag of caution has been raised by the governor. India seeks private money for coal-fired power plant despite Western opposition. So guys, yesterday 3 articles we have taken on COP28, and I think in last 10 days or so many articles have come. So basically guys, again, I will tell you, COP28, Conference of Parties 28 is scheduled to be held in Dubai. In this meeting, the signatories of UNFCCC, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, will meet, and they will see that what we can do to reduce the carbon emissions. And guys, whenever we talk about carbon emissions, always this particular thing comes forward that coal-fired power plants should be shut down, their numbers should be reduced. And India has already taken the carbon neutrality goal of 2070, that by 2070 we will become a carbon neutral nation. Okay. Now guys, in this capacity, a logical thing that comes in mind is that country will not go forward with the coal-fired power plants. They will reduce the coal-fired power plants. Either they will close, or if they will not close, at least new power plants will not come. But guys, what has happened? Fine. India has asked the private firms to open up new coal-fired power plants in India. Okay. So basically what has happened, India's power and renewable energy minister has made this particular appeal to the private sector that they are missing a growth opportunity. India will see more demand in electricity, more electricity demand India will see, and for that you can open up new coal power plant and can take the benefit of that particular growth. So private companies to invest in coal project and should not miss the growth opportunity. Now guys, it has been provided that peak power demand in India, which usually comes in the month of summer because cooling demands, AC वगैरह, they are needed. So peak power demand will reach 335 gigawatt by 2030. Right now, peak power electricity demand in India is 240. So it will go to 335 by 2030. It means additional electricity will be needed. And for that, we need more coal power plants. So private sector should invest into the coal power plants and should not miss the opportunity. This appeal has been made by the government. Okay. It has been provided that currently Private sector investment in the India's installed electricity capacity is 36%. Out of the total electricity capacity, 36% is with the private sector. So basically, guys, if you know, there is a Tata Power, there is Reliance Power. So private sector have invested a lot in energy. Now they should invest more into the coal energy. Now, guys, this comes despite of Western opposition, because, guys, you know this particular thing, that the West, they are putting so much of pressure on developing countries such as India that they should reduce their carbon emissions. So this is something that has come in this direction. Okay, so you should be mindful about these things. Now, question on this article will never come, but these things will help you to provide more authenticated information, so you can use these particular kind of references. And now the main practice question, I will take the doubts first. I will take the question. So child abuse in India has been attributed to the structure and size of the family, lack of effective implementation of law, poverty, illiteracy, and even cultural factors. Comment. So this will be the GS paper number 2, 10 marker question, social justice, children related issues. Now I will take the doubts that have been written. Okay, first of all, thank you so much to everyone for the messages that you have dropped here. I'm really grateful to all of your messages, and also I would like to thank you all for liking the video, and a very good morning to all of you who have wished, also the others who are watching. Sir, okay, there is one question, UPSC 2024. Sir, if there is a dilemma to choose between personal disaster or a protest which has turned violent, how to deal with this and how to approach this question or situation? Dear, actually, I'm not able to, I don't know whether I'm able to understand this question rightly. If there is a dilemma to choose between personal disaster or a protest which has turned violent. Dear, if you can send exactly what is this personal disaster and what is the protest for what is going on, if you can explain this question a little bit, then I will be able to respond more properly. And if you want, you can send me personally that thing also on Telegram. Anyone who want to connect with me, you can reach to me on Telegram @Sahil Thinking Talent is my personal handle. Okay, also group is there. Sir, please provide monthly compilation of these synopsis. Okay, we'll try if we can do something in that. Sir, if this is the case, we have seen the refugee crisis in London, Sweden, and Paris. Won't the over migration be a problem to the people of these countries? Yes, that is very good. Yes, that is in fact the issue, that when refugees are going on, when the refugees are going in the other countries, the countries who are receiving them, they say that we don't have a capacity to accommodate these many people. We have limited resource, we have limited food, we have limited limited resources. So they also have this thing. So that is also not entirely unethical from their point of view, but at least in a dignified manner, these things should be tackled up. Okay, sir, if you don't know some article or article's background, from which website you will search and get to know about articles? Okay, dear, see this thing. So this is actually, there is actually no one website on which you will find the background of all the articles. And actually, basically, guys, even you will get this thing if you will be regular in reading. Okay, so if you just take the example, okay, I am just telling you that see, I have doing the daily newspaper analysis on this channel since 2020. Okay, starting 2020, March 2020. Right now, it is more than 3.5 years since every day we are doing this newspaper analysis. Also, before that, I was not doing newspaper analysis here, but reading newspaper was there even in our preparation, that is there. So if I just give you a tentative timeline, okay, so I have actually been reading the Hindu newspaper from past 11 years, on a regular basis. So what has happened, as we are talking about the backgrounds, that information had got consolidated over the years. What I am saying is not that I have done something great. My point is that you will also develop this thing. It is not something great that I have done. No, you will also develop this particular thing in some time if you will be regular. Anybody can do that. Anybody can do that. There is no one website. You will yourself will be able to make the background information. However, some specific information you don't need, then you can go to the Google and you can search that thing. In that, your personal notes will help you. Your awareness about the issues that is going will help you. Okay, so if you will be regular, you will develop your understanding, which will be actually can be even more you will develop your own understanding. So this is something that I wanted to tell. My point is that you have to stay in the process for some time. Automatically that thing will come. One website is not there. Okay, freebie, not a freebie. Okay. So this is in the context of that we have discussed. Not a, okay, not a freebie. Okay. Sir, as India has not ratified United Nations Convention on Rights of Refugees, can the treatment given to refugee by India is ethically justified? See, even if India has not ratified it, but refoulement principle has to be adhered, even if you have not signed it. It is a human right matter. Okay. So, if India has not ratified it, India can do any behavior with the refugees? No, such cannot happen. Okay, guys. So that is all, guys, about this session. And thank you so much for tuning in here. And guys, thank you so much for your lovely comments and your likes. Thank you so much. Now we'll meet tomorrow.